Welcome back to part 4 of the Blue Jean Dream tutorial, our steampunk jewelry tutorial presented by the Gilded Monocle. In this episode, what we're going to basically do is we're going to get I have a 20 gauge wire that I just purchased at Radio Shack, and it's a solid copper wire and it is not stranded. You don't want to use stranded because then you'll have all those little fine pieces of wire everywhere and it really is pain to work with. So this is just a solid 20 gauge wire, and we're going to go ahead and pull the plastic sheeting off, as you can see, with just the standard wire strippers and cutters. Now it is kind of more of a pain in the butt to do this, and you're asking me, why don't you just buy the copper wire from Michael's or Hobby Lobby? Well, the truth is you can get a lot more wire for the price if you purchase someplace at Home Depot, Lowe's, or Radio Shack, even online. And yeah, you do have to remove the plastic sheathing on the wire, but you can spend $6 and you can have about 5 times as much wire as the same price that you would pay, at Michael's or one of the hobby stores. So I just go ahead and do this since I do sell my pieces, and as artisans, we always want to make at least a little bit of a profit. So what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of score the plastic, and you'll kind of place it into the stripping part of the wire strippers, and you'll just kind of turn it, and then that will enable you to pull the pieces off. I do it in sections like this. You just kind of twist it around and then try to pull it. Especially since I cut such a long piece of wire, it's easier to work with that way. So I just pull a little bit of the plastic sheathing off at a time. It's easier for me. If you have, some muscle around your house, you might be able to get them to help you a little bit. But don't worry if you do happen to score or bend or kind of warp the wires. You can see here mine is kind of rippled and bent. It's okay. You can use a pair of flat and round tipped nylon pliers, and you can actually straighten it out really well. So you don't have to worry about that. If you have to kind of twist it around your hand just to be able to get the plastic off, it's fine. You won't have any problems with that. And what we're actually going to do with this wire once we get it all cut off and into the proper form that we want to use it in is we're going to use it to basically to wire wrap the material we're going to use for this project. Of course, the blue jeans. So you're going to want to have an old pair of blue jeans that you can cut into strips about 1/2 inch and probably about 16 to 18 inches long. And we'll cut it into strips, and we're going to use these pieces of wire that we've now removed to wrap it around a jump ring to make the biggest part of the necklace. So as you can see here, here's our blue jean strips. Now this one's a couple inches wide and about 18 inches long. You can make it any size you want because it really depends on how long you want your necklace to be. When you pick out the size of your strips, bear in mind that you are going to attach probably 2 to 4 inches of chain on either side of this necklace, so you may want to kind of keep that in mind. You can always adjust it though. You can always pull links out of the chain. You can always shorten the chain up if you would rather have less chain. I used about 4 for this tutorial. But basically what you're going to do is cut the blue jeans into strips, and you don't want to worry about the edges being frayed. It actually adds to the look of the piece. Now I also grabbed just some plain white cotton fabric, and I'm going to do the same thing with that in about the same size, and I may go ahead and cut the width of these a little bit thinner, and we're going to twist all the fabric up together, but we won't quite do that on this step. We'll get to that a little bit later. And the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to measure out these strips of cloth, make sure they're all about the same length, and cut any and tear it preferably, just to get that kind of ragged edge look. You can also use a wire brush to get the edges frayed a little more if you want. But I really wanted to have that sort of distress look because this is about found objects and and the steampunk culture is always things that you find or that you can make into something else. So we wanted that kind of frayed look to the jeans. So the next thing I'm going to do is going to go ahead and grab a large jump ring, and I'm using an antique bronze, and as you can see, this is a pretty large jump ring. It's not your standard size, and we're using some large linked chain, And this is also antique bronze. And the great thing about these particular types of chain and jump rings is you can patina them as well if you want. And with some brands, you can even just put them in water to patina them. You don't have to do anything else. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and open the loop here. And I'm going to go ahead and attach the chain because we're going to wrap the fabric through the loop, which is why we have such a large loop in the first place. And you can get these at just about any place, you know, any hobby store or online at a jewelry supply. You can even check out our website and find them as well. So I just go ahead and attach the loop, close the chain. Now you can't use loop closing pliers on these simply because the loop is so large. So what I do is kind of get into the position I need, and I actually just use a small jewelry hammer to kind of just smash it into place. So I just go ahead and whack this a little bit here and just close it. You just want to make sure that it's really closed. And then what we're going to do after we do this is we're going to go ahead and wrap our fabric, at least the ends of it. Just want to make sure this is really closed though, because we don't want that chain slipping out. But the next thing you're going to do is you're going to gather the ends of your fabric and loop it through this loop. And we're going to use our copper wire to bend around, or wire wrap as it's referred to, the edges to hold our fabric in place. You just go ahead and gather your fabric. And you don't have to worry about the edges looking a little frayed or a little jumbled up. It'll all come together in the end. So you just want to pull enough so that you can really get a firm closure on it, and then you'll just start wrapping the wire around. And we'll continue doing that in the next tutorial. But we appreciate you watching, and we hope that you subscribe, and thanks again, and look for the next episode, which will be out just shortly, as you go ahead and continue wrapping your wire around the edge of this fabric. And once again, thanks for watching.